To flourish is to grow luxuriantly. You were created to flourish. As we live into the summer months, those of you who have planted seeds for a garden are spending your time watching, tending, watering, and waiting, and perhaps praying for the tender shoots to mature and bear fruit or flowers. Then, at just the right moment, you will harvest the crop. There is so much to the process. It is a mix of hard work and mystery, the practical and the mystical. The physical planting, watering, weeding is very practical and easily understood. Yet that little seed mysteriously contains new life. Held within itself, it carries what is necessary for it to become a red tomato or bean plant or a beautiful blue delphinium. It is what happens within the seed and the soil that is a mystery and even mystical. Somehow the little seed nestled in rich soil, as it is nurtured with a bit of water from rain and warmth from the sun, begins to awaken, to swell and burst forth from its protective shell. As it sends down roots to draw nutrients and moisture from the soil, it also sends up a tender shoot as it sprouts and seeks the light. All along the way, the process of transformation can be thwarted. The gardener prays for just enough rain, just enough sun and warmth, just enough nutrients to nurture the plant's development. Too much of anything, and it will die. Too little of anything, and it will die. Such it is with life. In the midst of life, we have the fullness of struggle, even as we experience moments of growth and flourishing. But today, we are talking about God as the gardener, the creator, and God delights in watching creation grow and flourish. The process of creation is continual. Ezekiel speaks as God's voice to the Hebrew people when their hope is diminished and their lives have been destroyed as they have been taken captive and removed to Babylon. And yet here is God speaking of new life, of taking a tender shoot from the cedar tree, planting it on the highest, loftiest mountain, and it regenerating into an even more magnificent, noble cedar. It grows tall and thick with foliage and fruit and becomes a haven for birds of all kinds. And God does this. God has the ability to build up and to make low, to dry up and to give life. As 21st century Christians, we can almost hear an echo of the Magnificat in the words of the prophet and the praise of the psalm, giving thanks to God for God's loving kindness in the tenderness of life, and God's presence in the night season or the darkness, continually giving thanks to God in times of growth, blessing, and especially in times of challenge and struggle. Praising God, giving thanks to God continually, because God holds all creation and each soul at all times lovingly and faithfully. Delighting in the incredible ability of souls to be transformed through all of life's encounters. It is our faith that holds us fast, our hope that draws us forward, and it is love that weaves and enriches life. And we can boldly have confidence in God and in the never-ending story of life. As God scatters seed, it is God's greatest delight to see each human being grow, as it is to see all creation grow. Every seed, every creature, every being has tremendous potential to flourish. Each simply needs a bit of tending and nurture. Each soul is unique and will take its own path. In the book, The Man on a Donkey by H.F.M. Prescott, a historical novel set in England during the time of Henry VIII, there is a character named Male who lived in a cloistered community. She was a simple-minded girl who only knew bits of the stories of Jesus she had seen depicted in stained glass windows or in bits of destroyed illuminated manuscripts. Yet she saw visions, showings, and met Jesus in ordinary occurrences, such as a stranger's visit, or in a piece of fish and remnant piece of oozing honeycomb left on a plate. She spoke what was shown her, simple words that didn't give answers to others' questions, but drew them into reflecting and attempting to understand her vision. She told the bits of stories she knew and believed true about Jesus. And greater minds were humbled and perplexed. Her counterpoint is the life and writing of Evelyn Underhill, an Anglican laywoman whose feast day was yesterday. You may or may not have heard of her. When she died in 1941, she was mentioned only as Evelyn, daughter of Sir Arthur Underhill, on her husband's grave marker. Outwardly, she was simply a middle-class married woman supporting her lawyer husband and taking advantages of the culture of Edwardian society. Yet she was a woman who flourished in her faith as a mystic, as a spiritual leader and guide, and as a writer. She was a woman with a passion for God and a deep commitment not only to her own faith journey, but also to encouraging others to be soaked with the Spirit. That encouragement came through her ministry of conducting retreats for lay people, but also for male clergy, almost unheard of for a laywoman of her time. It came through her ministry of spiritual direction, often through letters written to individuals and to groups. It came through her academic writing, leading her to being made honorary fellow of King's College in 1913 and awarded an honorary Doctor of Divinity by Aberdeen University in 1939. Her original grave marker was replaced a few years ago with one reading, Evelyn Underhill, 1875 to 1941. Christian, scholar, spiritual guide. A Christianity which is only active is not a complete Christianity. For her, the interior life was integral to growing in faith. Underhill is one of those writers who understands our humanity when faced with such enormous upheaval and trauma. Yet, with gentleness, she also understands our spirit's continuing need to be fed in meaningful ways and not hide away from the challenges presented to us. I dare say most folk fall in between Male and Evelyn in understanding and faith journey, in seeking the mystical, the spiritual, the theological, and nurturing one's own soul and spirit. Yet each person is a seed created to flourish in this life, grounded in God, deeply rooted in relationship with Christ, and ever, ever encouraged to grow toward the heavens by the Holy Spirit and be fruitful. Evelyn said, after all, it is those who have a deep and real inner life who who are best able to deal with the irritating details of outer life. I invite you each morning to give thanks upon waking for life itself, to rejoice each day at the blessings you encounter, to bear fruit wherever you find yourself, and flourish. You were made to flourish.